You know, when I got done watching this movie, it made me realize why Jeremy Johns said it's complicated. Okay, so welcome to my review of The Lion King, the 2019 live action remake of the original 1994 2D animated. And you know what? Walking into this movie, I fully expected to hate it because I was one of the people that did not want this movie to be made. I watch the original every now and then. Still holds up. Still holds up to this day. You would think that since it's a movie that was released back in the 90s, that maybe the animation would feel a bit dated, but no, nope, still holds up to this day. Same with the story, same with the voice acting, the directing, the music, especially the music. It's all good. Still good. It's great. So, why make this movie? And okay, you know what? Let me start off with the positives. I'll start off with the positives. Everything people say when it comes to the visuals, yes, the movie visually looks amazing. It does. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. And I couldn't believe that everything I saw was computer generated because it genuinely looked real. And it was, I mean, a few shots I could still tell that okay, this needed a bit more work, you know, maybe just a bit more work. It I could kind of tell that this was CG. I mean, what I mean by that is that mostly throughout the movie, like even though I knew in my head that this was CG, like it still felt and looked real. But there were some shots where I could tell, okay, yeah, that's obviously CG. Like I could tell. Um, oh yeah, and everything people say about Timon and Pumbaa, Billy Eichner, and Seth Rogen, yes, they are 100% correct. Those two are the standouts of the movie. Before they showed up, the movie felt boring. And I couldn't believe I'm actually saying that about a movie that had, the Lion King. Like, I never thought I'd say the words boring and Lion King in the same sentence. I never thought they'd ever once be associated together. Um, and oh, you know what? In all the reviews I've read for this movie, for some reason nobody mentions Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. They never mention those two. They play the two other hyenas, other than the other one being Shenzi. They never mentioned those two. I loved those two in this movie. Absolutely loved those two. And everyone in the audience apparently loved them. They were laughing every time they said something. Uh, and, I don't know why nobody else ever mentions them. Uh, okay, what else did I like about this movie? Okay, something I liked, but at the same time didn't. Okay, so this is going to be kind of the middle section between, because it's something that I liked, but at the same time I didn't. This is before I get into the negatives. Something that I liked, but at the same time didn't, was the music. Every time a song would come on, it would be the same song that you would know from the 1994 animated version, the 2D animated version. Is that every time it would come on, it would be amazing. Also, the transition from normal dialogue to music felt perfect. It flowed perfectly. It was smooth. But in this movie, some of the songs feel like they just come out of nowhere. It almost feels like okay, we have to have this song here because this is where it was in the 1994, um, the 1994 2D animated version. Because and to me, it just it didn't feel right. Also, the songs just didn't have the same impact. Like, okay, be prepared. That to me still is my favorite song in the entire movie, the 1994 one. But in this version, It was terrible. It was bad. It's like the original was had so much energy, and this one didn't. It felt flat, lifeless. Just it was boring. Oh, boy. I'm not gonna. By the way, I'm not gonna talk about the story in this review because it's The Lion King, and I feel like everybody already knows the story. I mean, there's nothing to spoil. You already know what happens. So I'm not usually I talk about the plot in my movie reviews, in my you know when I start posting other movie reviews. But just for this just for this one, just for The Lion King, I'm not going to talk about the plot because again, everybody already knows the story. It's the same story, just with a few things added in, which that I'm not going to spoil. I feel like that you might appreciate if you see it on your for yourself. I'm not going to spoil that. But other than that, the story is pretty much exactly the same. No difference. Okay. Other things that I liked to that. Yeah, the music. Also, the song "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" didn't make sense in this movie because literally in the title it says "Can you feel the love tonight?" But in the movie it happens during the day, so the song doesn't even make any fucking sense now. It also it just didn't have the charm of of the of the original. It just didn't have the charm. And again, most of it comes down to the visuals. Because they chose to make this movie look so close, to live action, they made the characters look so much like, real animals. It just it didn't have the same charm. It didn't have the same heart. And it was kind of disappointing because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I thought at the very least, if they were going to remake it, that they would at least pay respect to the original, or at least at the very least be as good as the original. And if possible, actually no, it's not possible. Now it's not possible to make a better version of what we already had. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that's possible. So you could have at the very least been as good, but it wasn't. Um, Also, probably the most disappointing thing for me is the relationship between Simba and Nala. Now, here's the thing: when they were kids, the the relationship between those two, or at least the chemistry between those two, that was okay, okay. But when they grew up, it was horrible. It's just I don't know what it was. They just it didn't have it wasn't the same. I mean, okay, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, the romance between Simba and Nala sort of came out of fucking nowhere. Okay, if you think that, and I'm sorry, but we did not watch the same fucking movie because it was right there. And if you just, anyway, the reason why I even brought all that up is because in this movie, there's none of that. In this movie, okay, remember the moment where in the original when Simba and Nala like meet for the first time, or when after they got done fighting, Simba recognizes that oh, it's Nala, and then Nala, she takes her time because at first she doesn't know. Wait, who is this guy? This random lion I just met somehow knows my name, and she looks at him, and you know it takes a while for it to finally sink in, and you can see it in her face. But in this movie, it's almost like he recognizes her, and she's just, "Oh, Simba, oh my God, it's you. Oh, okay, well, okay. Hey, by the way, could you come back and kill your uncle because he's sort of ruining all our lives." And it was so fucking terrible. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? And it's just, one thing this movie did well, is that it made me appreciate the original even more. Um, oh, what was I gonna say? Um, it's just, well, I guess we're getting into the negatives. A lot of the scenes that they chose to do, like repeat in this movie, somehow it felt like, again, it felt like a watered down, lifeless, soulless, heartless version of the original. It's just, oh, I can't remember the last time I've been so disappointed in a movie. I just, and you know what? People who go into this movie and say, you know, I just want the exact same movie, don't change anything. Well, guess what? Somehow they did the exact same thing and changed it at the same time. Again, I don't even know how that's fucking possible. See, I just, you know what? This is why I think this movie is just, it's there purely to make money. Like they're just trying to cash in on the nostalgia of the Lion King. And don't get me wrong, I know that every movie is supposed to make money, but when the only reason you make a movie is to make money, then you're just gonna end up with a lifeless, soulless husk. And it's a movie that people are just gonna probably gonna see once or twice, and then they're probably just gonna forget about it in, I don't know, 2 weeks. But good movies that were made by people who had love and passion for what they were working on are remembered. Like The Lion King, there's a reason why we still remember the original to this day. Like there's a reason for that. There's a reason why you can still watch it to this day and it still holds up. And I don't understand why people at Disney just don't seem to realize that. Instead of just instead of just again focusing on these remakes, just focus on giving us new characters, because that's where Disney usually shines, when they make these new and original characters that have their own stories. Like look at Pixar. Other than Toy Stories 2 and 3, most some of their best movies were original properties. Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Inside Out, Coco. Those are some of their best movies, and they were all original. Even Disney, look at Zootopia and Moana. People love those movies. Again, they were original. Like both those movies earned over $1 billion. While Zootopia, I know, earned over $1 billion. I don't know how much Moana made though. And I just wish Disney would stop. I don't want any more of these remakes. After after Little Mermaid and Mulan, just please Disney, I'm begging you, stop with the remakes, because you're not gonna capture the same magic that the animated versions had. And one of the biggest reasons why it had so much magic was because it was animated. Like you can do things in animation that you just can't do in live action. And I know and I know again, the Lion King remake isn't live action; it's still animated. But again, because they focus so much on, you know, making it look like as close to real animals as possible, it lost a lot of that magic. Like when they talk, it it looks so weird. It looks terrible, especially when they sing. Like remember in the animated version, whenever they would sing, their faces were so expressive, and it was amazing, and it matched the music. In this version, the way their faces move, it doesn't match the music. It doesn't match the music. It's just it looks like you're trying to watch a real lion trying to sing, or a real meerkat and a real warthog, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you know what? When it comes to this movie, if you still want to go see it, if you're just like if you're such a big fan of The Lion King and you just want to relive some of that nostalgia, then you know I can't stop you. I can't stop you. If you're going to go see this movie, go ahead. I won't stop you. But if you ask me, I wouldn't recommend it. Again, you could if you have the original at home and you can watch it at literally any time you want, then I would just recommend staying at home and watching the original. And you know, and I know that a lot of people probably just wanted to re-experience The Lion King in theaters, and I get that, I do, but I, if that's all they wanted to do, then why doesn't Disney just re-release The Lion King in theaters? It's not like people wouldn't go watch it. Like a chance to see The Lion King in theaters, like what? Listen, when you watch something at home, it's one thing, but seeing it in theaters on that big screen in that dark room with a bunch of people who are trying to re-experience their childhoods, like right there with you. It's just it wasn't. I mean, I can understand that. Like Disney, you could have just done that. Like, why even waste so much time and money and talent on on a lifeless, soulless version of what is till to this day, in my opinion, your best movie? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm ever gonna understand this. And I want to apologize now. I know the video's long, but I just I had to say this. I had to get it out. I just okay. That's it. That's it. That's all I have to say. Final verdict. The Lion King 2019. Again, if you're just somebody who wants to experience The Lion King in theaters, then you know what? I would say go watch it. But if you love the original like I do, I wouldn't recommend watching this because again, it's just it's not the same. It's if you just want to go because you want to see those new things they added, like what I mentioned, then I'd recommend just waiting for the movie to come out. Come wait for it to come out on Redbox, rent it once, watch it once, and that's it. There, you already saw the new stuff. You don't. I don't think you need to go to the theaters for this. But if you still want to go watch it again, I won't stop you. I'm not going to tell you not to watch a movie because who knows? Maybe you'll have a different experience than I do. Who knows? But that's it. That's all I have to say. Again, I apologize for making this as long as it is. Thank you if you've listened all the way up until this point. Um, Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe for more. And remember, hit that bell notification to know every time I post a new video. Love you guys. Bye.